we're back from the dead.
Are you ready? Let's go.
Hello, everybody in that BTL community. Today we have Maria's Dungeon versus Elysium Terra. I am joined by the one, the only, the great Zerathai. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. I mean, of course, you mean greatly despised Zerathai, that is. Resident troublemaker, shitstir
I
of the
don't-
BTL community.
I don't
Trash
know
talker?
what you're talking about. Trash talker, correct. But most of the time it's trash talking yourself for some reason.
It's funnier that way.
All
I don't
right.
make the rules, it just is.
So we are starting off strongs with the bans. Maria's Dungeon starting with that Alistar and Kinnan ban, while Elysium Terra is going to opt for the Talia ban, which Nukes has been absolutely a monster on, and a Seraphine ban. So, what are you expecting from these two teams? How are you expecting the series to go? Personally speaking, these are two of the best teams in my eyes. So, how do you think things are going to shake out?
I genuinely have no idea because I think I watched Maria's Dungeon play, or played them? I can't even remember. I think played them, but we got smoked, so they felt pretty good then. But I actually haven't seen Elysium Terra play yet. So
You
I
haven't?
don't know what to expect. I don't think so.
Well, they are a sight to see. They have a very expansive roster, too. I don't think I've ever seen the same 5 people on the lineup at a time. They are one of the few teams that are maxed out on our roster limit of 10, so they always got someone to fill in the shoes if someone can't make it. Maria's Dungeon is going to round off the bans with the Sona ban, and Elysium Terra is going to take away the Sona. So a lot of targeting on the support pool of Soul Lady, and then everywhere else is kind of just comfort picks, it looks like, trying to get rid of some OP comfort picks. And Maria's Dungeon is going to opt for the Orianna first pick, something that has been greatly, extremely powerful in Worlds. I know there are a few patches behind, but I don't think she got any noticeable nerfs, and if anything, she just got stronger with the slower pace of the game. So, already, Maria's Dungeon's coming out swinging with a very powerful pick.
Yeah, Syndra, of course, being the pretty standard counter pick to the Orianna, you want to be able to find something that has the ability to get lane pressure. And, while not common, Syndra is able to find those solo kills from time to time. I would expect to see Maria's Dungeon with Azaya also locked up by Elysium Terra. Picking up the Rakan and the Jarvan here.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
that is what Maria's Dungeon should do. Syndra pick, also, like you were saying, good counter matchup in the Orianna, but once you get to those team fight phases, the Orianna's value is a lot more. Yeah, you might get a solo kill here and there on the Syndra, but if you don't explode that into something insane, it can get super
Ziggs.
dangerous. A Ziggs locked in. Look, they're paying homage to the one man in the bot lane.
You must be talking about someone else. I don't know who that is, personally.
You literally got me to play Karthus nonstop in solo queues, so.
Alright, that was pretty funny.
He's OP, bro. He's OP. But we do have a Ziggs Nami being locked in for Maria's Dungeon's bot lane, so super heavy on the AP right now, but they are leaving themselves opens for like a Jarvan ban or even a Rakan pickup here by Elysium Terra, and that can be quite dangerous, giving the lovers duo over to just anyone, realistically speaking. Xayah, one of the strongest AD carries in the meta right now. Super reliable, super safe, and one of the few who doesn't really care what Orianna does because she just has her ult.
Yeah, Graves picked up by Elysium Terra, so they don't seem to actually be prioritizing the Rakan in spite of seeing the support matchup.
Yeah, very
Now, Graves,
interesting.
yeah, I'm curious because, I would expect to see maybe a Jarvan ban here.
Yeah, there's the Jarvan
And
ban.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, I was going to say, at worst case scenario, Elysium Terra still can get the Rakan because they do have the pick after the bans, but this does give the chance for Maria's Dungeon to take that away, unless they don't care about it, which I would be surprised by because Ziggs not exactly the most mobile carry in the game. Same with Nami, not someone who can get away easily from the Rakan, and just like that, we are going to see the Rakan ban. So Lovers duo, not going to
Yeah.
happen this game. So I'm curious at what Elysium Terror is going to do to pair with that Xayah now that they have full access to what the bot lane is going to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna be pretty interested to see what they choose. I mean, Varel doesn't strike me as a great option here.
Not at all.
Right.
Nautilus could be good just because, like, yeah, you're gonna get poked out if you lock in a melee champion. It's just gonna happen. But Nautilus or Alistar, two picks that pair very well with Xayah, can keep them locked in one place for a very long time, get a
Ali
lot
got
of
banned already.
feathers. Oh, Ali did get banned. So I'm predicting Nautilus just because of the ability to lock down, especially when those two champions have no way to dodge the hook. And if they get hooked, they're dead. They're both squishy.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of pairing the Ziggs with the Nami as well. I find Ziggs excels a lot when he's either paired with a champion that can look for the solo roams into the mid and top lane, or can lock down other champions such as the Nautilus or the Leona that was, famously Ziggs' primary duo in last year, I suppose.
Leona is one of my favorite champions to pair with Karthus when I do play Karthus. Same thing. It does the same thing as Ziggs. Both super high damage, single target AP champions who can proc the Leona passive. Well, I don't know what that's called, but they are going to go with the Nautilus on the side of the Terra, and Xin Zhao going to be the answer into the Graves. Not something you see too often, but Nukes and XPO have done this combo before to great success, might I add. A very nice entry point for the Orianna ball. So we're going to see if the synergy between Nukes and XPO is going to be able to pull it off again. And that is the area to look for Maria's Dungeon. That is their primary carries, their primary, like, they do everything. They start the plays, they end the plays, they carry the games.
Gotta be Renekton top, right? Jax?
Jack's not bad.
Scion? No, what?
It's a Scion. Interesting.
What?
The Scion pickup here. I feel like Scion is just so easily abused by so many champions. Like there's Nard,
I mean, Elysium,
Ornn.
Elysium Terra could just lock in like Rumble here, right?
Yeah, even Camille. Camille is open, another champion that just nukes Scion. So
Yeah, Scion is a bit of a strange pick. I would have liked to see the Jax. The Renekton, I think, is maybe the safer pick. I go, oh my gosh.
Gwyn. Again, Gwyn, another one of those champions that can devastate Scion's HP bar, and also very good at keeping out of Ziggs' damage. So the only real threat to Gwyn here is honestly the Orianna ball. But actually, that's not even true, because if Orianna's not inside that W, the ball's not going to do anything. So the Gwyn,
it's got to be the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, it's just going to be the Xin Zhao, and I don't think Xin Zhao is going to be doing much against a champion like Gwyn, someone who has so much healing that wants you to be on top of her. And she is a tank shredder, and most Xin Zhao's go this like bruiser build. So it is going to be quite interesting.
A second, I need to check the match results for the game we played against yeah, Nukes Xin Zhao went the Eclipse Essence Reaper Black Cleaver build against us, so
Yeah,
I would not be surprised to see that insane damage, one-shot build happen here again.
Yeah, but is it going to be enough to get through the Gwyn, though? Because if you can't control this Gwyn, that Gwyn can wreak havoc, because there's no world where that Scion is going out positive in that lane. That Gwyn is going to have a lead. She's going to be tearing up the rift, and her split push power is going to be insane. But now that we got a look at both of the team comps, who are you favoring, and what do you want to see out of each team to really pilot their team comp to the max?
I mean, in terms of just the compositions, I do favor Maria's Dungeon. I think Elysium Terra has a lot of avenues to play through, but, Maria's Dungeon still has a pretty bog standard. Try and chip them down with Ziggs, and then threaten the big Orianna Shockwave with the Xin Zhao being able to dash in for the ball carry.
All right.
Now,
all right.
If Elysium Terra does start getting ahead, though, things for Maria's Dungeon can look really grim. While they will have the Shockwave always to, offer the potential of turning the fight around, they don't have something like a Rakan or, an engaged support that can otherwise set up the Shockwave. So you're entirely relying on positioning and getting the Xin Zhao in there with the ball in order to be able to find anyone with it.
Yeah. Now, the only fear I do have for Maria's Dungeon is knowing that Nukes does go for the more damage-focused builds. He's very susceptible to just be absolutely one-shot by Graves or Syndra. And if he dies before the XPO can get a nice ultimate off and really set up a good team fight for them, Elysium Terra should be able to just shred this team apart. They don't have any way to protect their carries. Right now, from what we've seen in the past, their only engage tool is a guy who's going full damage, which makes sense. He normally does have a lead, but I am personally going to favor Elysium Terra because I think that they have the split push advantage. They have the standard AD carry. They don't, like, Maria's Dungeon doesn't really have a true AD source of damage. And if their only AD source of damage is that Xin Zhao, like I said, Syndra is really good at just eliminating targets.
Yeah, the Xin Zhao who, you know, as you already iterated, if he goes for that high damage belt, is going to be incredibly squishy. You know, if you try and dash into the graves and, you know, oops, there's a Syndra stun to catch you out, that's it, you're dead.
Yeah, I almost feel like they're forced to do the high damage build just because he is the only AD source of damage on his team. So it's kind of also putting him in this like hole that he has to like do this build now, and it's gonna get it can be really dangerous.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, this is part of why I didn't like the Scion pick. You know, I understand that the Scion makes their team a lot, you know, tankier and arguably more threatening by comparison, but now you're really pigeonholing Xin Zhao into being the only physical damage source, where, you know, if you'd pick something like the Jace, like the Jax, you at least have a secondary carry to threaten something, or the Renekton, of course, who can always threaten being able to get onto the Xayah and at least force the ultimate out.
100%. All right. So we are loading onto the Rift, so we're going to swing it off to a break while these two teams get ready to fight it out. We'll be back in about 3 to 4 minutes, so don't go anywhere. All right, we are loaded onto the Rift for game number 1 between Elysium Terra and Maria's Dungeon. Zerathai, are you ready?
As I'll ever be.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh, go back to 10 seconds. My game didn't unpause.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, let me know when you're back there.
All right, I'm back.
All right, 3, 2, 1. 11, 12, 13.
Hang on.
You good?
Yep.
All right. Looks like we do have some pings coming out from Elysium Terra, so potential invade here with the Nautilus, which makes sense. Let's see if Maria's Dungeon can spot it out.
I was thinking about the potential for an invade in this early action, but it actually seems really risky for Elysium Terra. Of course, you know, Charybdis on the Scion, always going to be an insane potential bush. You know, like if they were 5 stacked with the Scion, there's always going to be an insanely large amount of potential for that fight to be turned immediately the moment they go to face check it.
Yeah, 100%. Also, within Defiance, having the buffed Q can hit a lot more people easily. Ooh, but in Defiance,
in
could get caught
Defiance.
out here. Oh, but they're not
I
gonna
don't think
spot
he even
him.
got seen.
Minions have spawned.
But they don't know.
They
that
are
they're in
going
here.
to lead in.
They don't know that they're in here. They could be walking right into a track. They're pinging it. And Defiance is throwing his bomb. Oh, the client. I forgot about that. The 9,999 damage that Ziggs just did to the Rift. Alright, so nothing too crazy is going to happen in the first early minutes of the game, and both junglers are going to be starting on the bot side. Did your game just freeze?
My game is not frozen.
What's your timer at?
143, 44, 45.
Interesting. Pause it real quick.
Yep.
Why did my game freeze? I'm just permanently stuck at 1:30.
Try just clicking forward of it.
I can't.
Oh.
Huh, interesting. If I exit out, can I get back in?
I think so.
Alright, let me do that. Close the game. I don't really want to do this. Oh, there we go. Okay. It's going forward now. So what are you at? 145?
149.
I'll wait until we get there. Anyways, while we're waiting to get back in sync, it looks like both junglers are going to be starting on the bot side. So they're going to be mirroring each other here. Alright, I'm at 149. Are you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, 50, 51, 52.
We are synced up once more.
Alright, sorry for that little hiccup stream, but we do have some nice little trading going there in the bot lane. And that is going to be Ziggs kind of taking a rough trade. I just realized, I thought that was Gnar, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, the skins look exactly the same to me, and I was especially confused because I actually did just play against a Gnar using that skin last night.
Ooh,
Oh,
another deadline into the root, and that's going to be first blood going over to Waffle. Great performance from the first game of his BTL career.
Yeah, really, I mean, you know, we can praise Waffle for that, but realistically, you know, alley-oops, finding the hook just from the most absurd range possible.
Yeah, it was quite the hook, and honestly, Indefiance does have to be careful. He already had to blow his TP, so no TP shenanigans for like a quick back to get some item advantage, so he has to be really careful in this lane now.
Yeah, unfortunately, Ziggs now losing some of that power where he can cheat the whole being an AD carry thing and just farm up and reset and get back whenever he wants. Actually going to have to play the game properly now.
100%. Oh, we do
Oh,
have
alley-oops.
alley-oops
Holy.
going for a flank here. Can he connect the dredge line? But XPO does flash it, but he is in this dangerous spot. He's
XPO?
not going to be able to get out here. They're going to see him pop the blast cone. Alley-oops is going, but Nami is there now to protect them. So good on XPO to get out of that. That was almost dire for them.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting angle to flash at, honestly. Pretty terrifying to go over that wall and not know for sure that Graves isn't anywhere nearby.
Yeah.
Of course, we do see Nukes and Graves engaging in skirmish here at the Scuttle.
Yeah, Scuttle went over to Frey Little Feet, but Frey Little Feet is taking a really rough trade here. Has to use his dash to try to get away from Nukes, and now Zoe is here. And now Nukes could be in danger. He does have his flash. Is he going to be able to get out? He just flashed the Cinder W to get rid of the slow, but gets stunned up by the Cinder E, and that's going to be another kill going over to Frey Little Feet. So really, really well played there by Elysium Terror to pick up on where the jungler is. They know Nukes is a great power point, so if you can shut this player down, it's going to be really difficult for Maria's Dungeon to get to a point where they want to be.
Yeah, and of course, Xin Zhao is one of those champions where, you know, he is insanely strong in the 1v1 skirmishes early, but really weak in any sort of multi-target affair.
Yeah, 100%.
So.
Especially when he doesn't have that level 6 to avoid a lot of that range damage coming through. So Nukes is going to have to be a little bit careful here. While Waffle here is just kind of solo farming up while Alley-oops is roaming so much. Love to see that from the support.
Yeah, really, you know, good decision making, honestly, just having Alley-oops, being able to play the map completely unlocked from the AD carry. Waffle doing a great job of minimizing any risk, already going to be, you know, pulling back in the lane, getting the ward and tri-brush, making sure that there's no avenue for Nukes to surprise kill them and try and get that Ziggs into the game.
100%. Did by the way, is this 9,999 true damage a new bug in the spectator client? Like, what is happening? I don't know if you see this.
I'm seeing the 999s and it is bothering me, but I've never seen it before. I have to assume that it's new to this patch.
Interesting.
Honestly, the first time I saw it, I thought, oh, that's a really weird arcade Ziggs thing that I hadn't seen before, and then I was like, wait, that's not arcade Ziggs.
All right, so Dragon is up on the board. I really expect Elysium Terror to hold control over here just with the power of their bot lane and with Frey Little Feet getting a kill advantage over the Xin Zhao. So we'll have to see if that's what they want to do. Notably, Elysium Terror, one of those teams that doesn't put a lot of focus on the dragons from what I've seen. So, at least for the early dragons. So maybe Maria's Dungeon can sneak one in there, but it's going to be difficult. OP Ivy taking a little bit of a rough trade here. Misses 2 full Qs, but pops the ulti on to Terry. Yeah, and that is going to have to be the sign ulti to get away. And that is the damage of Gwen in those tank matchups.
Yeah, I mean, especially you saw it turn the moment Charybdis overstepped, took a turret shot, and
The way almost in danger there. But yeah, sorry, continue.
I lost track of where I was, so there's no continuing. Right, no, yeah, the turret shot immediately just loses the trade. Misses a hook onto Soul Lady walking in a straight line.
Flash there, but can she get sunned up by... Ooh, Shockwave gets slashed by Zoe, but a nice double stun.
Yeah, and, you know, we do see a lot of play towards the mid lane right now, so mostly just, I assume, posture and trying to get that pressure into this dragon take is a little safer. I feel like they would have been better off if they just honestly started the dragon without trying to go for the play, though.
Yeah, but Soul Lady was walking right... If that hook hit on Soul Lady, that would have been a different story, I feel like, so... A little bit of a tragic. You can't disrespect or be mad at them. But XPO could be in danger. Sorry, Zoe could be in danger here from XPO. XPO is chasing with Soul Lady here. Flash forward by XPO does confirm the kill with the command's attack. That's what it's called.
Yeah, command attack and dissonance, picking up the nice QW 1-2.
So Maria Dungeon is fighting back, not going to let these early kills get into their head too much, so glad to see.
And they've clawed back their way, you know, it was a 2,000 gold deficit down to only 1,800 gold now.
Yeah, and that Quinn damage. One full set of Qs, half Science health.
Yeah, it's getting getting a little bit silly already. You know, the max health damage is going to be really challenging for the Scion to overcome
Ooh, a
before he
nice
builds
root
any
there by
resistance.
Waffle,
Ooh.
and the hook to cancel the W from Indefiance. Now Indefiance has to flash away. But good bubble by Soul Lady to save Indefiance. Good timing
Yeah, fantastic bubble. You know, Waffle, I think maybe if Waffle was a little quicker on the, I believe it's Blade? No. Featherstorm. A little quicker on the Featherstorm, might have been able to pick up the kill on Indefiance.
Oh, that's his ult.
Soul Lady just hovering mid, I suppose, trying to prevent any
Ooh, a flash
more
over,
shenanigans.
flash forward by
Ooh.
alley oops, and that's gonna be Indefiance dropping to the feathers. That's gonna be Waffle picking up another kill for the side of Elysium Terra. A lot of disrespect is happening here. It's Soul Lady. Nami is not the champion you would think to be roaming, you know. So, but now Cherry is gonna be just dead here to the Gwyn ultimate, and a nice snipe there by OP Ivy. Another kill picked up. This will give.
Curtis.
Yeah.
He's just going. They're just going for plays that don't need to be made. Like, why are you walking up past your turret?
Yeah. Why are you?
Gwen is able to kill you at any range.
Yeah.
If you get in melee range, or like not at any range, but if you can get in melee range of a Gwen, she is going to kill you. Especially if you're only sitting on 500 health. Expo taking a big chunk of damage already to start that quick little short trade, but
Yeah.
you know. We see in Defiance falling behind so far on CS, and this is not what you want from Zig. That was
Nukes.
like 2 million damage on the freaking Rift there.
Yeah, Nuke needs to be careful here. He just used his dash forward, but a command shockwave on his way to possibly pick up solo here for XPO, but XPO couldn't complete the kill, and now Frey Little Feet is also trying to help, but XPO gets away with Soul Lady's help, but OP Ivy is now onto Nukes. Nukes has to flash away, and Soul Lady could be caught out over here. Soul Lady is going to die to the Nautilus, and now Cherry is in danger. Scion, I don't know if he's going to be able to get away with this. XPO is trying to assist, gets the slow with his ordnance, and IP is going to dash away from the Scion. I don't know why he tried to charge that. Oof.
Okay, they gotta stop, right? Oh my
The
god.
snipe from the Ziggs Q to pick up a kill there. But for 2 plates in the bottom lane, it is looking like Maria's Dungeon's just kind of all over the place right now. They don't seem coordinated.
Yeah, Maria's Dungeon super uncoordinated. I mean, Elysium Terra, you know, they're getting a little bit ahead of themselves, doing a really long chase with actually 0 reward. And, you know, giving over a kill to the Ziggs, not what you want to see. But, I mean, in spite of the kill, you know, Ziggs is currently 1,300 gold behind the Xayah right now.
Yeah, and I mean, that is thanks to Xayah also being able to pick up 2 solo plates there. So that kill, it doesn't really mean anything. Like, if you think about it, like, that is just the equivalent of what Waffle picked up in terms of platings. And Waffle has almost a 40 CS lead over the Ziggs at 11 minutes. Waffle is farming immaculately.
Yeah, Waffle's doing a really good job of keeping head on the farm. Like, just insanely consistently hitting all the CS, but...
And once again, Cherry is fighting OP Ivy, getting dropped down super low, and OP Ivy does have the ult, and that's going to be forcing the Scion back. He does have ult to get back to lane, but it is not looking good for Maria's Dungeon in game number 1.
Yeah, Maria's Dungeon, you know, getting put into a really rough spot. Now, it's not impossible to come back from this, but I feel like a lot of this is coming down to the draft, where, like we said, you know, Nuke's being put in this position where he has to be the playmaker and facilitator for everything. Feels like it's kind of pigeonholed Maria's Dungeon into, you know, always trying to play to Nukes, getting the roams up from Nami and leaving the Ziggs undefended.
Yeah, and it's not to the fault of Maria's Dungeon. It is what has been working for them, but it just, like, for the champion that they locked in, especially with Zhao, someone who you typically want to be more of a bruiser. But hold on, we do have a little bit of a fight here with Frey Little Feet catching out XPO. XPO does have flash to get away from this if he does need to. Command Shockwave is going to go out, and now Frey Little Feet looking for the kill, but misses the ultimate. But he is going to get the flash of XPO. But back to what I was saying. It's not like Maria's Dungeon is not used to Nukes being the playmaker, but when you're forcing Nukes onto a champion that is, oh my gosh, we have another fight happening with Zoe getting caught by the Nami wave, flashes away from Nukes, and a fight in the top side while that mid play turns into nothing. It is just all over the place. But they're pigeonholing Nukes on a champion that you typically want to be a bruiser, especially if he's your only form of engage. And if you look at his build, going straight to lethality items. And that is not something you want to see when they have champions like Syndra, like Graves, like Gwyn, who are super good at single target, just blowing up champs. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, it's especially problematic when you consider that, who does Nukes have to target with the Eclipse build, right? You're not going to one-shot the Gwen. I mean, you can probably do a really good chunk of damage to her, but chances are you're not just going to beat her outright unless Ivy does some really weird shenanigans trying to get that turret plate.
Yeah, and also like you were saying, you can't one-shot Zaya. Her Feather Storm is gonna keep her protected. Sure, you can maybe one-shot Syndra if you're quick enough on the reaction, but typically she's just gonna EU away, and you're never gonna stick on her. So.
Yeah. Oh, furry little
do
feet.
have a nice little gank here onto XPO. The Zoe does pop the ultimate, and that's gonna be a kill going over the furry little feet. Is that Unleash Power? Okay.
I mean, it's just so rough. Furry little feet might be found out by Nukes in the jungle here, but I don't know that Nukes can even kill him if he could get onto him.
Yeah, it is looking very rough. Like the comp gap is showing right now. Maybe once we start getting to see some items completed onto these AP carries of Maria's Dungeon, things can change up, but we will just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. In the meanwhile, the Charybdis has picked up the, oh my gosh, Abyssal Mask, that's it. Yeah, really cheap item, incredibly gold efficient, especially when you have a bunch of magic damage sources on your team, so hopefully they're able to make that work and just, play towards the team fights, play towards numbers advantage plays, utilize the Scion teleport, really get out of the top lane and just, sack your lane, acknowledge that Gwen's going to be a monster, and just try and make sure Indefiance and Expo can get gold.
Yeah, but the problem with that, though, is who can stop the Gwen from pushing in. But Nukes is going to get engaged here by the Nautilus. The Nautilus ult does knock him up, and he does get the hook connected onto him. And now Nukes is in danger, has to flash away. And Fairy Liffy's going to flash over and pop the Ghostblade to chase as well. And that's going to be a kill picked up on Nukes. Great pickup there by Elysium Terra. Can get him a lot of pressure on the map right now. Gives OP Ivy a chance to really look for that tower.
Zuri's playing with fire. I mean, I'm surprised Expo isn't blowing this shockwave more often just for the trade, especially on the minion wave.
Yeah, and maybe XPO thinks like you gotta have these shockwaves for the team fight, but like if you can't even get to the team fight, well, it's pointless, Like you gotta start picking up some solo kills, get some plays. You can't greed your abilities here, especially when you're falling this far behind this early.
Yeah, and I mean, especially it's really critical for, we've seen it at Worlds with the Orianna Syndra matchup, where the Orianna, if she gets a chance, will often just shockwave the wave if it can hit Syndra to be able to confirm the aggressive trade, get the shove, get out onto the map faster.
I mean, a lot of the times as well, it typically ends up in a solo kill favor for the side of Orianna, so it is definitely one of those things that, like, as a player, you need to know what your limits are, and you need to be able to, like, perform in that aspect to make sure that your team has a form of carry that can do that. But Herald's going to be started up here by Nukes. It's going to be spotted by the Gwen Pink Ward. So I know that they're on here, and now Alley-Oops is here, and that is going to be enough to push Maria's Dungeon away from the objective.
Yeah, so that's just the dragon going over with no actual trade in return. And I mean, I know that it's only 2 dragons now, but imagine if they had just been stacking those dragons right from the very beginning. This could be a 3-dragon game already.
Yeah, XPO could be in danger here. Just lost about a half of his HP to that trade, while OP Ivy is just securing the first tower of the game.
Gosh.
And now OP Ivy's going on to Cherry here, and that is possibly a dead Scion here. Dredge Line goes out, and the ultimate from the Death Charge, and that's going to be a dead Scion. Great roams here by Alley-Oops.
Yeah, Alley-Oops has been all over the map. I mean, picking up the Scion kill, a little unfortunate, but just insane map pressure. Zui just gonna walk right out of that tidal wave.
Alley-Oops definitely deserves that. That's all I'm saying. Like, this guy is everywhere. He's been at every play. He's making sure that his team keeps the tempo.
Yeah, I mean, the kill participation speaks for itself. 5 out of 8 kills total for his team participated in.
So that's going to be a tier 2 picked up by OP Ivy here, it looks like. So that is a lot of gold. Command Shockwave onto the dive that Alley-Oops tried to do, and that's going to be a kill going over to the Nami. Now Zoe is in danger. Flash forward by XP to pick up that kill. And that was a little bit of a greedy dive there, resulting in 2 kills, but a tower being dropped for Maria's Dungeon.
That was a lot of a greedy dive there, I think.
Yeah, and that's especially when like one of the main win cons from Maria's Dungeon is this Orianna, is XPO just as in general as a player. So very dangerous to give him a kill and an assist for free.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it looked kind of like they were just completely not communicating there. We have Furry Little Feet dropping the Rift Herald over the wall. Meanwhile, Alley-Oops just goes over and starts the play with Zooey in short toe. It just completely falls apart the moment they're splitting.
All right, next objective on the map is going to be the Baron, and honestly, Elysium Terra is in a position to just start this off the rip. Like, they can force any fight that they want right now. They know they have the gold advantage. They know that they have the team fight advantage right now. They have the itemization advantage. Furry Little Feet already getting Maul Mortis second item into this AP heavy team. It's going to be really hard to kill this Graves.
Yeah, and also, OP Ivy is, like, just 1 or 2 more waves away from being able to finish up that Riftmaker. So the Gwen also is going to be incredibly problematic, and with that Nashor's Tooth already completed, going to be doing so much damage to a Baron if she can just stick on it for single target damage.
Yeah, Indefiance needs to be careful here. I don't know if he knows that the Nautilus is sitting right there. He doesn't. Nautilus is going to drop the death charge right onto Indefiance, but can Indefiance, looks like Alley-Oops is going to give up that play. Scared of the nukes being around the corner.
Yeah, playing a little bit safer than they have to, but I respect it. It's probably better to play with, more safety in mind when you have the incomplete information on where the rest of the enemy team is.
100%. And it's not like Elysium Terra is in any rush to make plays happen. They have a very sizable lead. They have objectives on the map that they don't want to give over. So good holding the trigger there by Alley-Oops.
Yeah, OP Ivy. Gwen's found herself in a bit of a precarious position, but the Spectral Shroud, is that what it's called?
Command Shockwave onto Furry Little Feet, getting caught out there by XPO, and this should be a kill picked up here by Nukes or XPO. A flash forward by Nukes to confirm that kill, but now he's in a little bit of danger here. Nautilus is going to get the root with his passive while OP Ivy TP'd in on the flank to get XPO, and that's going to be a nice hook onto XPO. And now Scion is trying to ult in to save him, but it's too little too late, and he could die here. And that's going to be another kill picked up there. And now Indefiance, once again getting his W stopped by the Nautilus, has to flash the wall. And now OP Ivy chasing further, trying to get more done. Syndra's going to flash forward, but misses the EQ stun. And just like that, that is going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of Elysium Terra.
Yeah, I mean, they could honestly just turn and start the Baron right now, I think.
100%, but they do have pings onto the Dragon. Dragon up in 20 seconds. Want to confirm that soul point. It is a Chemtech soul. Is the weakest Dragon soul in the game. But still, a soul is a soul, and that's a lot of free stats that you can get.
Yep, I mean, especially for someone like the Graves, like the Gwen, the low HP resistances, I believe it's what it gives, or just reduced damage taken, I think.
Yeah, it's reduced damage and increased damage when you're below 50% health.
Yeah, I mean, for the Graves especially, right? Most of the time, you're life stealing when you're that low.
Yeah.
So every little bit is going to count, and especially we saw how close Furry Little Feet was to being able to get away from.
Yeah, but we do have OP Ivy here going on to Indefiance, and now Indefiance is just going to be caught out and dies to OP Ivy. They were trying to get in position to stop that, but now Cherry's going to get hit by Alley-Oops' ultimate, and they're going to be brought down to 1 HP. A flash forward there by Alley-Oops to get the root onto XPO, and a nice dredge line onto XPO, and that's going to be the kill and Dragon picked up by Elysium Terra. Pings onto the Baron, and I don't know if Maria's Dungeon can stop this. They're just in disarray right now. They're so behind 11k, or not, sorry, 9k. Furry Little Feet is fed. You can't kill this guy. You can't kill the Gwen.
Now, it is a bit risky. You have Nukes, you have Soul Lady, both with ultimates available. Charybdis also has teleport and ultimate available.
Nukes is stepping up, but gets stunned, buys away. He does dash forward onto Alley-Oops, but that's not going to be enough. Nami ult gets dropped. The TP coming in by Cherry. That's going to be enough to dissuade the Baron, though. So, Maria's Dungeon not out of it yet, but it is a mountain to climb to get back into this game.
Okay, the Inferno Bomb just to stop the recall. Respect. I mean, when you're this far behind as Ziggs, then what do you really have to do other than just be as annoying as possible?
Yeah, now OP Ivy dashing forward onto Indefiance and Soul Lady, but not able to connect anything.
Always threatening, though. Always threatening.
Keep them on their toes.
And I mean, this Zig's itemization is already so sidetracked, right? Trying to build towards, what? You've got a Dark Seal, Doran's Ring, Tier, 3 starter items. You've got, what is this, Blading Jewel?
Yeah,
and
Jewel, but
you have Leon
Zaway
Reed.
getting the shockwave on his, or XPO getting the shockwave on his way, and that's gonna be a solo kill picked up by XPO. Great play there by XPO. He knew his damage, he knew his limits, and picked up a nice kill. But now Nukes could be walking into a trap. Alley-oops does get the dredge line, and that's going to be the ultimate onto Nukes, and that's going to be Nukes dead afraid little feet. And once again, we're in a barren position for Elysium Terra.
Yeah, except this time it's much more threatening. Nukes being down means that, there's no realistic way for Expo to get the ball in there. And
well, they have the Scion. Scion does have ults, so he does have a way to get in, but let's see what they can do. Defiance does drop the ultimate, and that's going to be the Baron dead before they can even get there in time. And now OP Ivy's just going to push away the carries, but a nice shutdown picked up by Cherry there. But now Scion's in there, 1v3. He's going to die, but a huge ultimate there to get a triple knockup, but it's not enough. A TP in buys the way, and now in Defiance, XPO and Soul Lady are just running. Kanzaway gets the kill. He's looking, but it's going to be given up on. But Baron picked up there with Elysium Terra.
yeah, Baron picked up, remains on 3 members. 3 not having picked it up actually spawned a little bit after it died, so maybe Elysium Terra missing the mark on that one. Could have waited a couple seconds, arguably.
Yeah. Oh, nice down there by the way, and now XPO is in danger. The ulti does get dropped on, but XPO is going to survive with about 300 HP left.
Yeah, no collateral damage means no real further risk. But, a little bit unfortunate for Waffle. Had the ultimate available, just simply didn't use it against Charybdis.
Yeah, I don't think he was expecting, like, the nuke of damage that Charybdis can do, but especially with Scion not having the Heart Steel, which is typically where a lot of his burst comes from, so just not respecting it enough.
Yeah, definitely not respecting it enough. We would like to see a little more aggressive pacing from this game, I think. The side of Elysium Terra are so monstrously ahead at this point that they should be able to just brute force their way into a lot more fights than they're getting.
Yeah, Soul is going to be up in 1 minute, so that's probably what they're waiting for. They don't really have any pressure or anything else. Just keep up the pressure with the Baron, keep the split push threat alive with the Gwen, and this should be a free Dragon Soul for the side of Elysium Terra.
Alright, I just have to comment on how funny it is that Charybdis on the Scion can just continuously shout the cannon minion away.
Yeah, but that's going to be Charybdis getting caught out here. He does have to pop the ultimate to get away. That's a huge cooldown.
Yeah, that's a really big cooldown to burn 30 seconds before the dragon spawn. I mean, this soul fight is going to be really hard to navigate if you can't get that tank into the front line.
Yeah, we do have a potential here. XPO and Nukes trying to clear some vision. A little bit of in a dangerous spot. Gwen is over the wall right now. They don't know where Gwen is. Dragon spawns in 10 seconds. We're going to have a dragon fight on our hands here.
OP Ivy's just going to look to split push the bot lane, actually. It looks like they're going to try and fight this 4v5.
Ooh, Zaway getting nice damage there on Defiance. Defiance has to jump away. No ultimate on Zaway, though. A nice dredge line onto the Scion. Gets the root. Nami ult comes out. Zig's ult comes out, but both just whiff. And Gwen is wreaking havoc inside of Maria's Dungeon's base. They need to stop her. Ziggs does get the back off, but I don't think Ziggs is enough. A hook onto XPO with the Nautilus ult, and that's going to be XPO blown up. TP coming in from the Gwen. That's going to be the soul picked up by Elysium Terra with that pick.
Yeah, and I mean, really well navigated by Elysium Terra, never actually committing fully to the fight until they were at a numbers, or at least even numbers. And then when they found their opportunity, they just immediately turn and burn, blow up Expo, and just chunk everyone as hard as they can. Now, 2 minutes towards the Baron. Do you think that Maria's Dungeon is going to be able to answer this Baron push?
Not
if they get the Baron again?
I don't even think they can answer a standard push. They're down 12,000 gold. I mean, like, Gwyn has 3 items. Graves had all their carries have 3 items at this point, so it is going to be so hard for Marie's Dungeon to make any form of effort to get back in it. Along with the soul, that soul adds about like 4,000 worth of gold of stats to the entire team. Like, it is going to be nearly impossible for the side of Marie's Dungeon to make even like a resemblance of a comeback.
Now that said, we have seen some utterly absurd comebacks recently. You know, the Elder Dragon is always going to present the flip option. Oh, OP Ivy.
OP Ivy getting caught out here, but the shockwave doesn't connect because Oriana wasn't in the W, and that's going to be Oriana dropping dead. And a flash forward by the Graves to pick up another kill, and Nukes is going to get caught out in Defiance of trying to save him, but I don't think it's going to be enough. As a 3 for nothing, and this should be the game-ending push here. Furry Little Feet's trying to get more. Sion TP's in, tries to get the knockup, but only can manage a slow. A flash over the wall by Alley-Oops to make sure that the Furry Little Feet doesn't die, and then Defiance drops dead. This is a way ultimate, and that is going to be the game going over to the side of Elysium Terra.
Yeah, game number 1 to Elysium Terra. Overall, really well played. You know, we saw a few little fumbles here and there, but for the most part, they played the map as about as correctly as they could have.
Yeah, I mean, Alley-Oops, honestly, like, game number 1 MVP.
Just monstrous.
Yeah, game number 1 MVP goes to Alley-Oops. He was at every play that he needed to be to. He constantly made numbers advantages for his teams with great hooks, great death charges. Not to say that the rest of their team didn't play well, but Alley-Oops roam, knowing that his AD carry is safe, just it makes it impossible for the side of Marie's Dungeon to play.
Definitely made it really challenging. I mean, especially the early game, finding all the room successfully where Soul Lady was, you know, sort of walking around and leaving the Ziggs undefended.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to set up game number 2 for this lovely crowd that we have in BTL. Thank you for all of the support that you guys give us. So don't go anywhere while we get everything ready. All right, all right, all right. We are ready for the draft of game number 2 between Elysium Terra and Maria's Dungeon. I am still joined by the one, the only, Zerathai. Whew. All right, so
I'm still trying to finish eating my food.
it's all good. So we do have Elysium Terra coming out strong once again with the Seraphine and Talia ban. Maria's Dungeon's gonna keep the same bans as well, keeping the Alistar and Kinnan away from OP, Ivy, and Alley-Oops. So, ooh, Elysium Terra taking away the Orianna. So, I guess they were feeling a little bit of some sort of pressure there from XPO, which, to be fair, XPO did have some pretty nice shockwaves in terms of solo kills, but we didn't see the great shockwaves of team fights that Orianna's known for.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you know, it is a pretty big risk to give over the Orianna Jarvan R1, R2 pick. So I understand Elysium Terra not wanting to just let that Orianna go over. And I mean, especially just because, you know, in spite of Zui's best efforts, they did fall pretty significantly behind on the Syndra.
Yeah, and I mean, it's to be expected. Like, there's a point in the game where you can't, like, Syndra can't really answer the Orianna in a 1v1 anymore. But Elysium Terra going to pick up the Xayah for Waffle again after a really good performance there. He allowed, Waffle's safety allowed Alley-Oops to make a lot of plays around the map. So, looks like they're keeping that same kind of tempo, making sure that Xayah has the ability to stay safe while Alley-Oops looks for these these huge plays that Elysium Terra needs to ensure that they get another victory. Whereas Maria's Dungeon's going to get the Jarvan pickup here, but no mid laner to pair it with too well, and the Jinx pickup for In Defiance.
Yeah, Jinx blinded, or not blinded, I suppose, but Jinx is one of those champions where she does feel really strong, but it does seem pretty challenging to protect the Jinx right now. I mean, especially if you lock in that Nautilus right here for Elysium Terra.
Yeah, I definitely want to see Maria's Dungeon go for something like it. Not me. Like, I would like to see something like possibly a Lulu. Like, so like if the Jinx does get hit, it's not like the Jinx is dead, you know?
I mean, I almost think that it has to be a Thresh or a Tom Kench, right?
The Briar.
First
Briar
of champion has been locked in.
The first Briar of BTL. The furry little feet, the first man to take it out of the arsenal. And that's going to be into the Jarvan.
And you can't prove that this isn't OP Ivy.
True, I can't, but I have faith.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Briar is nigh unplayable top lane. Melio, oh no, don't pick Melio. Into Nautilus, oh.
It is an interesting one. Melio, don't get me wrong, Melio, very strong champion, can do a lot, but there are certain engaged champions that I feel like don't care what Melio does. Like, if you get hit by the Nautilus hook, even if you interrupt the Nautilus hook, you're still getting pulled. You're still getting pulled halfway. You're still going to get stuck in a position where you're not going to be able to get away from this Nautilus. So, kind of an interesting pickup there by Maria's Dungeon, but if that's what they feel comfortable with, so be it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my biggest complaint for the Melio front would be that, you know, Soul Lady, as far as I understand, plays from Korea and will not have the instant snap reactions that I feel are honestly pretty necessary to make Melio playable into something like a Nautilus.
100%. So we're going to have to see what she can do. But Maria's Dungeon is going to take away the Syndra from Zoe, along with the Lissandra. So a lot of mid lane focused bans here, along with the Xerath being taken away from by Elysium Terra. And I wouldn't be surprised to see another mid lane ban. Just pinch it down as low as possible, and make sure that Nukes and XPO have a hard time pairing their champions together.
Yeah, I mean, I almost feel like a Nico ban might be good here if it's played at all by XPO. But Ari, another really good one. Pretty dang good at following the Jarvan to chase down a single target.
Alright, let's see. What is it going to be? The honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I was about to say a top lane bind pick here. Ornn, one of those champions that does very well into a lot of bind pick matchups. But the Gwen is open again for OP Ivy, and Ornn kind of runs into a similar problem that Sion does, where he just can't take the true damage trades that Gwen can do.
Yeah, and I mean, Ornn probably is going to be much more suitable for dealing with the Gwen early into the game, but eventually Gwen is going to hit critical mass. Gwen is going to just run the map regardless of what Ornn, there or not there, could do.
Yeah.
LeBlanc locked in. Interesting.
Rumble is open for Elysium Terra, a champion that is super strong right now. So maybe we'll see that. I don't know how the matchup into Ornn is, but I feel like Rumble wouldn't struggle in that matchup at all.
Yeah, Rumble, one of those champions that was traditionally picked into tanks that, he may not win the lane early, but he will eventually just shove the wave so much faster than the tank and be at every fight first, regardless.
Yeah.
Of course, it is the Gwen locked in.
Alright, so what is Maria's Dungeon going to pull out against the LeBlanc? What is that? How are they going to pair this? Ooh, Cassiopeia? Very good into Briar.
Cassiopeia.
Not the greatest into Gwen, but that is quite a lane. XPO can kind of trap everyone inside the miasma with the Jarvan ultimate, so we do have some decent synergy coming out here for both sides.
Yeah, I'm mostly a little concerned for Elysium Terra. I haven't seen Briar be played in any competitive format yet, so
yeah, we're gonna have to see how that goes out. She is very, very much a feast and famine champion. Which, based off the first game, if you're feeling yourself, that's exactly how you was playing on the Graves. So maybe, just maybe, Fairy Little Feet can make that champion look powerful.
Shout out to Risen for raiding with 32 viewers.
Oh my god, I'm nervous now. Oh.
They're now streaming to more than 15 people.
Oh no! Hey, we average like 30 viewers most of the time.
Yeah,
all right.
Well, it was.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, what just happened?
I think somebody misbanned something. But anyways, we got a look at both teams. Who are you favoring here, and what do you want to see from each team?
I mean, I kind of favor Maria's Dungeon's composition. Although it does worry me quite a bit that you have the Ornn, the Cassio, and the Jinx. So, 3 really big, long-term scaling picks that you have to invest a lot of time in to get to the point of the game where they're actually going to be useful. And, Elysium Terra, on the other hand, has picks like the Nautilus, picks like the LeBlanc and the Gwen, which are going to be useful at 1-2 items.
Yeah.
Briar, I don't know when she's useful. I hate the Feet champion. I ban it every game.
Yeah, I mean, personally speaking, looking at a team fight and like synergy standpoint, I definitely favor Maria's Dungeon here. They definitely have a much more easier comp to pull off. It's very simple, very front to back oriented. Whereas Elysium Terra, Briar's one of those champions, like, if Briar goes in by herself and has no follow-up, dead. Nautilus goes in by himself, no follow-up, dead. Like, they're very heavy on the pick side here with the Nautilus, with the LeBlanc, with the Briar engages across the map. So if Elysium Terra can't secure these picks, it's going to be very hard to play into the Maria's Dungeons comp, just because you can't really run into a Cassiopeia, you can't really run into a Jarvan, you can't even really run into an Ornn. So if Maria's Dungeon can get to that team fighting phase and get like their 1 or 2 item power spikes that they need on the Cassiopeia, on the Jinx, then it's going to be a little bit dangerous here for the side of Elysium Terra.
Yeah, if Maria's Dungeon can just stabilize this game and play to 2 items for everyone, then I think Elysium Terra is going to, they would have to pull off a miracle to be able to win at that point.
Yeah, 100%.
But that said, with how Aliops looked in the previous game, I expect to see this Nautilus looking around, looking for the Cassiopeia, really trying to find out weaknesses.
Yeah, and
with Maria's Dungeon.
And Elysium Terra has great lockdown on that Cassiopeia with the LeBlanc. The double chains can make it very hard for a champion that can't build boots at all. So there's a lot of danger here in the mid lane. But XPO, one of those guys who, he's a smart player. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to be safe when he needs to be safe. So I have high hopes for the side of Maria's Dungeon this game. And if I were a betting man, I would say this is going to be a good chance this is going to a the 2 a game 3, just based off the comps.
Yeah, definitely I expect to see Maria's Dungeon at the very least put up a much more compelling showing than the last game.
Yeah, it was.
I think a lot of it is going to come off the back of Nukes really, doing his due diligence on the Jarvan, making sure that he's covering for his laners, and never letting there be a huge numbers advantage play for Elysium Terra in the early game.
And hallelujah, Nukes is not playing Xin Zhao. Not that he can't play Xin Zhao, but this time he's playing a champion that is tanky, that has good damage, and has great engage. So, he is definitely in the position to make a lot of plays around the map. Jarvan, one of those champions that has super powerful early gank pressure, unlike Briar, in my opinion. Briar is very reliant on her ultimate to start making those. It's kind of like a Nocturne. Like, you got to hit the ult, you got to start making picks around the map. But there's also a lot of Briar builds going on around the game right now. So I'm curious to what Very Little Feet is going to be doing with his Briar. He's going to go more of that tank, more of that bruiser, more of that like assassin. So there's a lot of stuff that can be happening in this game.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that you also just can't overlook for the Jarvan, especially, is how easy it is for Jarvan to check out vision without having to commit to walking into a bush, for example. Just being able to drop the flag everywhere, even if he's just passing through a lane, just drop the flag, make sure that there's no one in that bush for 10 seconds so they can get a complete wave crash or something. We've seen that be really instrumental in shoring up any weaknesses in the vision game. So I really do want to see Maria's Dungeon playing to make sure that they're, not losing anything early that they don't absolutely have to. I expect that Elysium Terra is going to be able to take the first, maybe second dragon. I think that, Maria's Dungeon could look for the first Herald fight, honestly, with the Ornn and Cassiopeia ultimates.
Yeah, but they are going to need their bot lane to roam up because we already know that Ali Oops does roam a lot. So, unless they if they are going to fight it, they are going to have to match the roams. And doing that on Emilio, not exactly very plausible, so they're probably going to have to move both of their bot laners up to these plays to make sure that they can actually secure a fight in a nice advantage for themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, the Emilio is one of those champions where he's going to be incredibly vulnerable if he's walking around on the map and he just runs into a Nautilus, into a Briar somewhere.
Yeah. It is going to be quite... It is going to be a bloody game. There's going to be a lot of picks. There's going to be a lot of team fighting. It can go south for both teams very fast if any mistake is opened up.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we are loading onto the Rift as we speak. We will be back in about 3 minutes, so don't go anywhere and get ready for game number 2 between Elysium Terra and Maria's Dungeon.
Back from the dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're all invited to go fucking mental on this motherfucking drop. The countdown has just begun. Are you ready? Let's go.
So we're back. We're back from the dead.
Hell yeah.
We're back from the dead.
Are you ready? Let's go. Man from the dead.
All right, we are in the rift for game number 2 between Elysium Terra and Maria's Dungeon. Zerathai, are you ready?
I sure am, Frostbyte.
All right, 3, 2, 1, 11, 12, 13.
We are bang on.
All right, here we go. Can Elysium Terra take down Maria's Dungeon in a nice, clean 2-0 sweep, or is this going to go to game number 3 between these two titans of a team in the BTL?
Now, there is two interesting things that I've seen already. One is that Melio has opted for the Airy instead of Guardian. So they're going to be a lot weaker in terms of, you know, if Alius manages to find the hook for the all-in. And the other thing that I saw is that Very Little Feet does not have a health potion. I guess this is a Briar thing there.
Yeah.
You maybe just don't need to spend that 50 gold.
Yeah, Briar has, so Briar doesn't get health regen in her kit, but her Briar's, sustain in the jungle with her W is extremely high. So, not something unnormal. And also to note, Very Little Feet did opt for the Hail of Blades option for Briar instead of Conqueror. So, most likely going to be seeing the lethality or crit build coming out instead of the more tankier build. So a lot of danger, but Very Little Feet is invading the Raptors right now with Indefiance sitting right there. This could get quite dangerous.
Oh, Soul Lady walks right up to the bush, though.
Yeah, and that's going to be a huge chunk on the Soul Lady, about almost half her HP. And Briar is now looking for Indefiance and steals the red buff with the smite. That is tragic for the side of Maria's Dungeon.
No way.
That
is
that is
highway robbery.
That is not how you want to be starting this game, and that's going to put Indefiance in such a bad position. Oh, I also just noticed Indefiance and Nuke swapped roles.
Oh, wait a second.
Hold up. Interesting. So they're trying to put Nukes on a more centralized carry instead of the jungle, which makes sense. Nukes is an AD carry player by heart, I'm pretty sure. So but that is an interesting start to something that we didn't pick up on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly surprised Nukes are in Defiance. Gosh, didn't just try to go for that, Hail Mary. My red buff just got stolen. I'm going to sprint straight to the opponent red buff.
It is dangerous against Briar. Briar has a lot of single target damage, and I mean, honestly, the mistake lies in he saw Very Little Feet. He should have just smited. immediately. As soon as you see the enemy jungler in your jungle with that buff being so low, you're just going to have to pop your smite. Yeah, it sucks, but you got to do it. But he didn't, so that's going to give Briar a huge tempo advantage, a lot of farm, but a nice little trade here buys away an XPO, both being dropped down to half HP. So we do have it. It's already looking rough for Maria's dungeon, let's just say.
Yeah, looking a little rough for Maria's dungeon. Of course, Nuke's on the Jinx, still maintaining a pretty good amount of CS. But Expo getting traded on really hard, losing a lot of CS in the mid lane.
Alley-oops already roaming up, already ready. And Defiance is here, spots out and gets the... Who got that? Oh, looks like Very Little Feet did, so... and Defiance is trying to find ways back into the game with that massive farm gap, but it is to no avail. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see Very Little Feet go right back into the Raptors. He is pinging the scuttle right now, but I feel like you can get away with taking Raptors. There it is. Ping onto the Raptors. Zoe has the lane advantage, but it looks like it is just going to be dropped. A ward drop down. And Alley-oops is still up here, by the way. This guy is insane.
Just not in the bot lane. Level 2 Nautilus doesn't care. He has the only ability he needs. Dredge line in a dream, baby.
Yep. But Cherry, or how do you say that?
Charybdis, I believe.
Oh, that is not how that looks. But Charybdis getting some positive traits here onto OP Ivy. OP Ivy is going to struggle against the Ornn early on just because of Ornn's high base damage as a tank. So, overall, looking all right in the top side for Maria's dungeon, but I don't expect that to be the case for much longer.
Alright, I just looked it up to confirm it is Charybdis.
Charybdis, okay. Charybdis. Interesting name.
Yeah, Greek names are wild. Now we do have Indefiance hovering around the mid lane. I mean, I don't think that there's really anything you can do to Zuri though.
Yeah, and also XPO is out of mana, so there's going to be no follow-up there. So it is going to be a slow start to the early game for Maria's dungeon, but nothing. We weren't expecting any different, to be honest. This team is designed to scale. They have the Ornn items, they have the Jinx scaling, they have the Cassiopeia scaling. The only early game focused champion on their team is realistically the Jarvan. So
yeah, Needlemark being popped by OP Ivy just to prevent Charybdis from getting the recall off.
Yeah.
Kind of like to see it, honestly, when you really just need to eke out every possible early advantage you can get.
Yeah, on top of that, OP Ivy already popped their teleport to get back into lane. And the downside to popping that ultimate is Ornn can just build the items in the lane. So it's not like Ornn's losing out on too much, and he still has the HP to stay in the lane.
Yeah, OP Ivy, I think trying to just get the crash, and maybe he actually did want to let that Ornn reset.
Yeah.
In the long term.
Now Ornn is starting to freeze in the top side while Indefiance is in the bot, but he was spotted by that ward in the metal bush when he tried to walk into the grove, the cove, not the grove, the cove.
Alcove.
Yeah.
Indefiance is a very big alcove gamer in this moment.
Yeah. All right. Now Alley-oops is posturing for a potential engage here with Zoe pathing on down.
Yeah, so, and I mean, also, sorry, you go.
No, go ahead.
All right, so Alley-oops posturing for the really aggressive, look in the lane means that, because you're next to the river, you don't actually have to worry about Jarvan being able to engage on you. You can just hookshot right out into the river.
Yeah.
But if the enemy's back up, oh, Jarvan's gone. I don't have to worry about anything anymore, because if Jarvan decided to go in at that point, then the nukes and Soul Lady are way too far away to follow up.
100%. And notably, Waffle here, already level 6 here because of the early roams by Alley-oops, and a nice dredge line onto the Milio there, and it's going to be Milio's flash popped. And overall, everything is going in the way of Elysian Terror right now, and that's going to be the Needlework popped on the Charybdis. And And he could be dead here. The Ornn ulti does get popped as
Oh,
well, but
Griffiths
First
is
Blood,
down.
First Blood going over to OP Ivy. That needlework damage is nothing to laugh at. And once again, Very Little Feet in the enemy jungle, stealing away as many camps as possible. Already has a 40 CS lead here after he takes these Krugs. Like, that is insane at 8 minutes in the jungle.
I mean, a 40 CS lead in the jungle, all right?
That's like
Let's
10
start
camps.
with that.
That's 10 camps.
Yeah, that's insane already. But at 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes, that is not something that should be happening. Of course, you know, catch-up XP means that it doesn't really matter because In Defiance is level 5 anyways.
Yeah, I think they actually nerfed catch-up XP. There has to be a larger level gap between the two champions before it actually triggers. So I think you have to be almost 2 levels advantage there, which if Very Little Feet is, I wouldn't be surprised, but it's definitely not going in the way of In Defiance. And once again, Charybdis looking for a trade onto OP Ivy, does get the knock up here, so nice trade there. OP Ivy losing almost half their HP.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about earlier, where, you know, Ornn, he is one of those champions where he's kind of weak early, but if you misplay around Ornn, Ornn will absolutely smack you around. Has that potential for a 36% max HP magic damage combo off the W, R1, R2.
Yeah, and Maria's Dungeon surprisingly being the first on the go for this dragon. So, it's going to be a trade of objectives. While they were doing this dragon, Very Little Feet did snag that Herald. So, we'll have to see if Very Little Feet can open up this map a little bit and start looking for more invades and some flanks with that ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, I really do like getting that Rift Herald early when you need to break open turrets and try and get this map blown open as fast as possible, but I feel like there wasn't really a reason for them to be conceding the dragon.
Yeah, I think it was just because everyone was on resets, and honestly, that first dragon, it's a Kimtex Drake. It's not the most powerful dragon in the game. It doesn't really provide the best stats, so not the end of the world for Elysian.
Sure, the dragon itself is, of course, you know, individually not worth a lot, but the threat of, you know, giving the late game scaling team even the first step towards the option of scaling into Dragon Soul is pretty terrifying, I think.
I will agree with you on that point.
OP Ivy is kind of overstaying their welcome in the top lane right now.
Yeah, OP Ivy does have to be careful. A nice, if they get caught out, Charybdis will be able to just blow up a champion at half HP. But OP Ivy is going to reset, waiting for that TB to come online here. It looks like that was OP Ivy's entire play. And now In Defiance looking by alley-oops, but the ultimate misses by alley-oops with a great hook, but alley-oops then flashes into the traps by Jinx, and this could be dangerous. Alley-oops does get another hook onto the tower here, but the Jinx Super Mega Death Rocket goes wide. That was really well played there by alley-oops. I cannot believe he dodged that.
Yeah. Zuri and Expo just jockeying for control over the mid lane, but alley-oops just barely able to dredge line right on out of that Cataclysm in time.
I'm actually surprised to see Zway here go with Static Shiv. That item isn't really a thing anymore on that champ, but I guess they're going to try to make it work again. And Very Little Feet's looking for a gank onto Charybdis, and Charybdis is trying to turn this around with his ultimate, but he took massive damage from the needlework, and that's going to be a 1-for-1 trade in the top lane, so not bad for Charybdis. And now Waffle could be in danger, but does have the ultimate. TP coming in from the Cassiopeia, and that's going to be the flag and drag out by In Defiance. But then Waffle gets stunned by XPO, so another kill picked up across the map for Maria's Dungeon. And that is what you want to see.
Dungeon. They're doing a really good job of storming their way back into this game. I mean, you know, Waffle honestly had no business walking back up to that turret, even with the Feather Storm.
I mean, if Waffles popped the Feather Storm there, I think it's fine, but he kind of greeted it. And now, here comes the Briar's ultimate, but it doesn't connect. So, nothing is going to happen with that. But 3 plates picked up by OP Ivy. So, a great point of contention there. And once again, Maria's Dungeon not in the best, doesn't have the best comp to stop split pushing threats like OP Ivy.
Yeah, OP Ivy on the Gwen, always going to be a threat in terms of, you know, just getting the map pressure. But, you know, Nukes, even if it's just an assist, getting accelerated on this gold, slowly just pulling ahead in farm compared to Waffle.
Yeah, Herald is going to be
This
dropped
Jinx
bot
is
lane.
going to be terrifying.
Herald drop bot lane. This should be the first tower potentially falling. Let's see how much that the armor resistance there. Looks like it is enough to stop them from being the first tower there.
Yeah, the Herald charge is really hard to break open your first turret with the first Herald now.
Yeah, because they
Unless
nerfed the
you've
damage
already
on it, right?
cracked 3 plates. Yeah, they nerfed the damage on it by a fair bit. So I think you have to crack like.
Ooh, a nice
3
root there
plates or
by
2.5
Waffle
plates.
onto
Ooh.
Nukes, and now Nukes could be in danger. The dredge line doesn't connect, and now Waffle could be in a little bit of a threat. The alley-oops is going to ult
alley-oops.
the Soul Lady, but a nice double root there, but I don't think alley-oops gets away from this. That's going to be a kill over,
Yeah,
and now a
alley-oop.
TP by LeBlanc into the bot lane with Briar there as assistance. Can they turn this into more? The way doesn't connect the chain, and that's going to be into the play.
Yeah, alley-oops was a bit of an uncharacteristic mistake, dropping the depth charge onto just Soul Lady's Melio.
Yeah, if he dropped the death charge there onto Nukes, I believe it would have hit both of them just because of how they were lined up. So potential misclick happening there by alley-oops. And now OP Ivy looks like they're going to be going for some
Proxy.
cheese, some proxy down here. Dragon is spawning though, and Maria's Dungeon is in a great position to start that dragon stacking here.
Yeah, I mean, Maria's Dungeon, you know, Nukes hasn't been on a reset yet, and they're going to see Nukes starting the reset.
Briar
at
ult
least.
connects onto Soul Lady. Now
Oh.
Soul Lady could be in danger, but let's see if they can get the damage down. Very Little Feet doesn't die, and they pick up a kill onto Nukes, and the chase continues here. The Berserk of Briar is trying to get in Defiance, but it's not going to be enough. XPO is here. Waffle needs to be careful. And that should be the Dragon going over to Elysium Terror with that pick.
OP Ivy, really low on mana for this trade. Yeah, I mean, honestly, well played by Furry Little Feet, but kind of questionable by Nukes and Soul Lady. Nukes, I believe, actually did have the flash up in the first place. Could have elected to flash over the wall rather than simply standing there waiting for the Briar to get to them.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of greed coming from Marie's Dungeon, but maybe they're like, in their defense, dropping a kill here and holding the flash isn't the end of the world, especially if they already had plans to give the dragon. So nothing, like, it's like a win-loss situation, right? Like, you still have the flash for future plays, and alley-oops is going to solo stop in Defiance there on that Herald, and second Herald is going to be picked up by Furry Little Feet while we were talking about that. Now OP Ivy is going on to Nukes, but Nukes does get the traps on to OP Ivy, so a little bit tragic there that Nukes was inside that W to allow the traps to activate.
Yeah, OP Ivy just a teeny tiny bit late on the... I don't even know what... what is Briar's... Briar? Gwen's W. Hollowed Mist. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit late on the Mist. And you know, the game is currently 3 kills to 3 kills, 3,000 gold lead. OP Ivy looking for Expo.
Yep. This is the one part where OP Ivy might struggle against. I feel like Cassiopeia is really good at stopping this, and the ultimate from XPO is going to connect onto OP Ivy. OP Ivy's needlework isn't going to be enough, and that's going to be a kill going over to XPO in a solo.
Yeah, I think Expo can just straight up kill anyone if they tag them with the Petrifying Gaze at this point.
I feel like they should have OP Ivy still matching the Ornn here. I don't know why OP Ivy is sitting bot trying to match this Cassiopeia. It just keeps away over there. Like, what can they do? But In Defiance looking for a fight onto Waffle. Waffle has to flash out and gets the root onto In Defiance, and now In Defiance could be in danger while the Berserker goes towards Soul Lady, and Soul Lady's dropped super low, but XPO is there to turn around that play and pick up a kill. And Jinx is excited. She's looking for a chase. The TP comes in by Ornn. The Ornn ultimate does get called. Call the Forge God doesn't connect. Waffle Pot's ultimate gets a kill on the Soul Lady with the feathers. And now XPO's in danger. Zoe picks up a kill, and OP Ivy's chasing Nukes, pushing him away from the fight. Charybdis has to dash away. So, great turnaround there by Elysium Terror, which almost turned into a very tragic play for them.
Yeah, I mean, it looked really good for Maria's Dungeon, but then suddenly you have Zuya on the backside just absolutely chunking Expo out. Really well played by them. That is just the needlework in order to clear the wave, I guess?
Yeah,
Stop the reset?
potentially. But OP Ivy's just feeling himself right now. You know, just popping the needlework wherever they want. Doesn't need it for any fight. Unless you're fighting XBO, of course, but OP Ivy on
Might
win
just-
shouldn't be answering Cassiopeia in the first place.
Yeah, I think that if OP Ivy is fighting Expo, then something has gone very wrong for OP Ivy. But of course, you know, with that play, we do see the gold lead increasing. We're getting up to that 4,000 gold now. It's slowly ticking forward. 2 minutes towards that dragon, minute and a half towards the Baron spawn. You know, I don't think it's likely.
Ooh, XBO misses the root from Everfrost. Also, we have an Infernal Soul, one of the deadliest souls in the game right now. And both teams have a lot of good users with that soul, so we're going to have to see who can really get advantages in these dragons. And I have a feeling it's going to be going Elysium's Terra's way, at least until Jinx can get her second item or potentially third item. And at least Maria's Dungeon got that first dragon, so it's going to delay that soul by 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that the Jinx is going to require that third item, especially into a composition like this. It feels like,
The way getting a little bit too
Jeez.
aggressive there.
Did get out the Petrifying Gaze right before the dragon fight, though. I mean, the Petrifying Gaze is going to be down for at least 20 seconds after the dragon spawns, I think.
Yeah, now they drop the Herald top for OP Ivy, while Zoe is still trying to catch waves against XPO, but he has to be careful here. I feel like XPO still has a lot of kill threat. Now Waffle is looking on Indefiance by
What the
himself.
heck?
Indefiance just cannot be in his jungle ever, it seems. Ooh,
Oh,
nice,
Zui.
nice stop there. Now XPO is in danger, misses the Everfrost once again, pops the Seraph's Embrace, but gets the poison on his way, maybe enough to deter them. But Alley-Oops is here with the roams. He's looking. He wants the dredge line, but is it going to be enough? Can XPO kite this out? Oh,
Just
does
depth
pick
charge.
up a
Alley-Oops,
kill.
just depth charge. What?
I think he was trying to hold it for the dragon fight, but that is going to still positive trade there. Trading mid laner for support right in front of the dragon spawn is perfectly fine.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Alley-Oops, tactical misplay again. You know?
Oh, OP Ivy with the needlework
Not-
just going to blow up
Oh
Indefiance.
my gosh.
It is Indefiance not having a game.
This Gwen is telling the, I mean, what kind of secrets did Indefiance spell? Because OP Ivy is distributing the stitches for the snitches.
Yeah. I mean, Indefiance down 70 CS, by the way. It is
Oh
not
my
a game.
god.
It is not a game for him. And Baron is going to be started up here by Elysium Terra. Ornn is here along with the Milio. But I don't think they're going to be able to stop this. Maybe a Jinx Rock can steal.
I mean,
Can we
they
get
did nerf how much damage the Jinx ultimate could do to the epic monsters, though.
It can
And
still
Elliot's
do...
standing right in front of it.
That's going to be Baron picked up by Elysium Terra. But now XPO is
Oh,
here,
XP on the
picks up
backside.
1 kill. But 1 kill for a Baron is a trade that they're willing to take as long as they can get out. Cryptus doesn't have his ultimate, and that should be everyone from Elysium Terra minus for Little Feet getting out.
Yeah, everyone's able to just walk right out of there. It will mean a brief loss in map presence for Elysium Terra. The Baron power play, I believe, would be negative for now, especially with what I thought was a shutdown, but actually wasn't. Okay. Huh.
All right, so 5k gold lead when they pick up this tower. So Nukes is gonna get a little bit excited. They're trying to pick up gold where they can. Maria's Dungeon is almost there. Cassiopeia about like halfway done with her third item. Jinx, once she gets this Infinity Edge completed, even though Jinx is one of the champions that typically want 3 items, 2-item Jinx still pretty powerful, especially if you can get excited. But here comes the Briar ult. It's coming. It's sniping, but it doesn't hit.
Oh.
And that is, oh, if that hit, that would have been detrimental for Maria's Dungeon. Now Waffle has to flash out of Indefiance ultimate. But OP Ivy.
Waffle.
Oh. Go ahead.
Yeah, Waffle's really. But oh my gosh, I'd love that hop straight into the air for Alley-Oops. Made it absolutely nowhere with that blast gun. Yeah, Waffle's playing kind of aggressively, not really respecting the Jarvan enough. And if we get to the point where this Jinx, who now has the fully upgraded Infinity Edge, like, if that Waffle is, caught in that ultimate again without the flash, Jinx is just going to straight up outrange the Xayah and 3-tap her.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that Charybdis opted to upgrade the Jinx's item first over the Cassiopeia. I feel like Cassiopeia is your primary carry right now, but maybe they just have so much faith in the Jinx to get excited and to get things rolling that they upgraded Infinity Edge will be able to prove me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things is, right, upgrading the Cassiopeia's item gives the Cassio, I believe, more mana, health, and ability power, but upgrading the Infinity Edge just gives Jinx more flat damage. And at this point in the game, Cassiopeia, 100 health, probably not going to make a difference. Jinx having, 20 more AD to crit with, potentially could be game deciding.
Yeah, it's actually 30 more AD.
30? Oh my god. Or an upgrade's OP?
Yeah, they're about 1,000 gold worth of stats, so makes sense if a BF sword's 40 AD at 1,300.
Yep, that does track. So, I mean, 30 AD is quite a lot, especially for Nix, who has the lethal tempo, has the potential to get excited and just go off in a team fight. And we've already seen Nukes playing really well around this spacing when they have the Ghost up. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this Jinx try and play these fights up, but it's 1 minute to the next Dragon spawn. Yeah. Baron is already, I believe the Baron buff's already fallen off.
I feel like Maria's Dungeon should give this Dragon, fight the soul point. Like, yeah, it sucks to fight the soul point, but you need this Jinx to get the third item. Like, it needs to happen. You're not in a position to fight right now because if that Jinx does get hit by her Briar or does get caught out by Zoe on the LeBlanc, it is an over fight. So you definitely want to have Jinx at 3 items and ready to really dish out as much damage as possible. I'm hoping to see a Hurricane here because Fairy Little Feet opted to go the more damage-focused build, and OP Ivy's not really a tank. So that means Hurricane value is, like, way better than LDR.
I mean, that said, I actually think this is the one game where Rapid Fire Cannon makes sense, right? You want to be able to hit the Briar and the LeBlanc without getting in range of them. You want to be able to drop the damage on the Xayah from further away.
Yeah, now
Urnon's Hurricane.
Fairy Little Feet's going to get caught out here. Gets knocked up by the Ornn and the Milio's kick. What is the Milio? I don't even know what Emilio's abilities are called now. OP Ivy jumping over the wall in a 1v4, and a TP's can come out by XPO. That leaves the way up top to push solo. And now Alley-oop does drop the depth charge, but he might not be able to get away. He flashes over the Jarvan's ultimate, and the Ornn is going to drop the ult, but go wide. But this is the 3v5. Very Little Feet's going to ult in, does connect onto the Jinx, and that's going to be Jinx popping the stopwatch to make sure that she can survive. And that is going to be a huge play there by Maria's Dungeon. And now Jinx is excited. She's trying to get more. Waffle has to pop the ulti, and Nukes drops the ult as well, but it goes right between the two low targets here. And that's another kill picked up there by Jinx. 2 more gets excited, and now it's just OP Ivy. But Zoe is pushing in the top side. He does have a inhibitor. Can he get more? Can OP Ivy keep these people here entertained? They're still going. Gwyn has TP here. He is going to TP in. They're going to try to commit to this. Nukes and Soul Lady have to back. They can't get this Dragon. This could be not the game. Okay.
A turret. It's a turret.
It's just a turret.
Yeah, I mean, they really tried to play to get them off the Dragon, but yeah, Nukes and Soul Lady just going to go right back onto that Dragon.
And that is going to be the LeBlanc TP into the Dragon Pit. It's going to be enough to push Nukes and Soul Lady away, so this Dragon still could be going over to Elysium Terra.
Oh, OP Ivy on the flank. This could be big.
Yeah, OP Ivy there on top of Soul Lady. Does get the needlework down, does miss the second one though. Cannot complete the kill, and now a TP's coming in from Charybdis. That's going to be a dead OP Ivy, and now it is once again a 4v5, but Cassiopeia isn't here. Cassiopeia doesn't have TP. They need to look for a fight now while Cassiopeia is not ready to be in this fight. The ult goes out, Briar, but goes wide. And now it is a 4v3. Can they look before the rest of the team gets here from Maria's Dungeon? Zoe is going forward, gets the chains onto Nukes, and it might be enough. The flash forward by Very Little Feet does complete the kill, and now Charybdis is trying to stay alive, but he's not going to have enough. And that's going to be a double kill picked up by Fairy Little Feet with the bleed. And that's going to be the Dragon going over to Elysium Terra. Oh, a hook on to XPO, but XPO drops the ulti, and he's trying to try to keep him the play alive, but XPO isn't going to be enough. He does pick up 1, he does pick up 2, he does pick up 3. So Dragon going over to Elysium Terra, but that is a lot of gold going over to XPO. Now XPO could be in danger. The damage from Furry Little Feet.
What the hell?
Briar is just too much.
What is that champion?
So Lady, I don't think she can get away from this. The Berserk gives movement speed. She's chasing, but Furry Little Feet's going to give up on it.
The Feet champion runs around once more. That is absolutely insane. I mean, it felt like it was going so well. Like, both teams had really good engages, and then at some point during the fight decided, okay, we're just going to filter in single file, one at a time.
Yeah. I mean, XPO almost had a heroic play with his ultimates there, man. Like, it was so close.
Yeah, but like, you know, XPO, to their credit, they did pick up 3 kills, but oh my god, in Defiance, you cannot be there, man.
It's just going to die. Once again, the jungle isn't yours, buddy. Stay out of it. And that is going to be the Baron.
That's going to be the Baron.
Yeah. Needlework Parp.
And I mean, OP Ivy takes it so fast.
Yeah. Also, Furry Little Feet has a lot of damage with Waffle as well. This should just be the Baron going over. The Jinx Rock that comes out, but it doesn't connect. And that is going to be Baron secured by Elysium Terra. They can look for a game-ending push here now.
Yeah, they can look for a game-ending push. I expect to see it be a 4-1. Maybe you have the 1 in the mid lane. You know, have the Gwen floating around. Be willing to just hop over that wall, push that top lane into the final Nexus turret.
Oh yeah, they did pick up 1 Nexus turret already, so it's even more dangerous if they can get that split push with those super minions.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, honestly, with how mobile Zui is and having OP Ivy's teleport back up in about 30 or 40 seconds, maybe you just send Zui to the mid lane, send OP Ivy top lane, just try and make sure that there's always some threat looming in the back of their minds. But it looks like they will go for the just spread out play between mid and bot, which is probably the safer play.
Yeah, ooh, but OP Ivy might get caught out here, but drops the W. Make sure he's safe from XPO. XPO misses the Everfrost, but good damage on OP Ivy. That's about 1,000 HP chunked. And now we do have a 3-man push here. We have a push in the top, push in the mid, and Zoe is just getting this tower.
Nukes is alone
can't stop
on
this,
the
and
wave.
Nukes is going to get blown up by Briar. Briar going insane, gets 2. Can they get 3? Doesn't pick up the 3rd. LeBlanc takes that one, but this is the game-ending fight. This is game 2 going over to Elysium Terra, and that's them taking the series against Maria's Dungeon.
Why did everyone just abandon Nukes? And why didn't Nukes flash or ghost or anything? That was a double lift tier play right there.
Yeah, that is going to be the game. That is going to be the series, and that is going to be Elysium Terra solidifying their place as one of the top dogs in BTL. Who is your MVP? Who do we have to give this to?
Oh man, for that game, it's definitely between the Briar and the Gwen, I think.
Yeah, but overall for the series, that game 100%. But for the series, we had some great plays by alley-oops in the first game. Not too many great plays this game, sadly. Still had some roams though. We had Furry Little Feet, absolute monster carry on the Briar, first Briar we've seen, and OP Ivy, double Gwen, double stomp.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to be OP Ivy for the series overall. You know, the split pushing was just such a critical factor in both games, being able to get that push in and just constantly dominating the opposing top lane.
All right. Let's see if we can get him in here.
I have the dragging powers.
Oh, you do? I don't know which one.
I don't know which one OP Ivy is.
I think it's Suration?
Suration. No, Suration is Zui.
Oh, okay. Then no. Phoenix is the
Okay, Zuria is Waffle. Wait. What? Okay, so Suration is Zui Mama. All right, I don't know what the heck is going on.
Oh, true. Just Let me just message them. I'll just message them. Who
To the
is-
master sheet. Away.
Oh, if you see Malzahar's.
Izium Terra. Opie Ivy.
What?
So it is the person who left the call immediately.
Ah, tragic. Let's
Oh
see.
wait, there's someone named Opie Ivy in the.
Oh yeah, drag that person in. That has to be it.
Yeah, that's the person. Okay. I can't. What? I can't
let's just
scroll
go.
while dragging.
Oh, there he is. All right, OP Ivy, how is it going? Congratulations on your win against Maria's Dungeon. You are the series MVP.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah,
How-
it's gone pretty good.
Yeah, how does it feel knowing that you guys beat Maria's Dungeon, one of the past BTL's top dogs in the tournament? How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels great. I think we're building up some momentum now. And obviously we've had some roster changes, but everything seems to be working out pretty well now, so.
Yeah, I have noticed that you guys, I swear to God, have swapped players every single series. Is everything all right over
Yeah.
there, or is it just you guys are trying to like really make use of the 10-man roster that you have access to?
Everything's all good. We just have like some schedule difficulties. Like everyone's got to do stuff. And it's tough when like every game is streamed. So,
Yeah.
but we're figuring it out.
All right, all right. Well, you had some great performances on Gwyn. Is Gwyn one of your comfort picks, one of your main champions? Because you were absolutely tearing up Charybdis in the top lane. He kept locking in tanks, and you just kept shredding him with the needles.
Okay, well, I think if you're gonna like blind the tanks, Gwen is just generally a good ban. I don't really play the champ, but like she plays herself into those kind of matchups. So like I can't really fault my lane opponent. I would say just like it's kind of a draft thing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, despite you saying that you don't play that champ, you sure as hell made it look like that was one of your best champs in the tournament. Like that was disgusting what you were doing in the top lane. Zerathai, do you have any questions for OP Ivy?
Do you have any advice for the last place team in BTL?
Lock in Briar
Oh shit.
is like Briar's OP. Graves is OP as well. I don't know.
All right, I'm writing it down.
Zerathai, notably the captain of the last place team. So
Yes,
Yeah, no vested interest here.
my friend is telling me, or Zui, our mid laner. Also, he is like malding a little. His name is pronounced Zui.
look, I've been told.
What?
So that's how I pronounced it at first, and then somebody told me it's Zuwey, which I read as Zue. So I'll start
It
saying
says
Zui
Zue.
now, but I'll say Zui now, but I've been
Yeah.
I've been told like 3 different pronunciations, but he hasn't told me himself.
The advice that he says, and this is 100% from him, is don't FF. Maybe
Don't.
game is winnable.
All right, all
So
right.
like,
Is there anyone that you want to shout out specifically on your team, or anyone that you had watching?
yeah, shout out to everyone on my team, and shout out to Idris watching. He's got some like good copy passes in chat.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And SG Yorick Lover 420.
Opponent top fielder Opie Ivy. Jesus. What is the source of this copy pasta? I've seen it everywhere for this world. Is it like a soccer
from,
thing or football?
No, one
baseball?
of the like I think LPL mids was talking about who is the NRG mid? Palafox.
Oh, Palafox, yeah.
I met him in a scrim. Midfielder Palafox seems like a genius or something.
All right.
Pretty good meme.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for that great series. A lot of entertainment, really fun to cast. And thank you, Zerathai, for joining me on the Casters booth today. So, next week for BTL, we do have some crazy matchups. We have Maria's Dungeon versus the free agent team at 6 p.m. Saturday. We have LRE versus Spectre Gaming. That is going to probably be the game of the week at 9 p.m. on Saturday. And to follow us up on Sunday at 6 p.m., we have Dynasty Sapphire versus BBC. And to end the series, we have Elysium Terror versus FFZ at 9 p.m. So, Zerathai, OP Ivy, You guys better be careful. You're going to be opponents on the Rift next week.
Yes.
No, they better be careful. Listen, see, I've been cooking, okay? FFZ, right? We
gonna lock
went
in
zero.
Briar only.
We went loss. We went loss game 1, loss game 2, loss game 3, loss game 4. So hear me out. My theory is we're gonna go loss win
Uh-oh.
for the next 2,
Uh-oh.
and then
Good
it's
idea.
just wins from there. We're scaling, all right. We're scaling
I-
into this season.
I am pretty terrified. But yeah, good luck. I hope it's a good series.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, it should be funny if nothing else.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and I will catch you guys next week.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you to all those fans out there in the BTL community who decided to watch this game, even though it is late. It is a Sunday, but we always appreciate that support, and we will catch you guys next week. So have fun on your weekday, and don't go crazy on Halloween.
We're back from the dead.
Hell yeah.
We're back from the dead. Back from the dead. Back from the dead.